Hello, everyone. I am here to talk about Sinners. I had to talk about it. Everyone else is talking about it. I do have a few different um, opinions and reasons why I like it. I didn't really listen to a lot and really go so deep into what others were saying because I wanted to do my own review as to how I saw it and how I took the movie from my point of view. So I really, really liked the movie. First off, if you have not seen the movie, spoiler alert, get off. I'm gonna spoil it. I'm gonna ruin it. So I really liked the movie. And I liked it for the reasons of when I was younger, I saw myself as Sammy. I grew up, my uncle was a preacher. So I was a Christian, we were Baptists, and had to go to church. Then we would go singing until I became a teenager. We started traveling, singing. Joined the choirs, and we would travel, sing. And I eventually left my uncle's church and joined some other churches. And during the course of it all, I would just say from ages 13 to 14, I started to just be very concerned. Concerned. As Christians, we were not supposed to sin and we were not supposed to judge people, but I've seen a lot of that. A lot of sinning. The musicians and the congregations, I mean, they were all sleeping together. I mean, I seen swinging. I mean, it was couple swapping in the churches. So it was really going down. The musicians, it really I mean, the it was really bad. And it just drove me, and I was leaving from going to church because every time I would see stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, you're supposed to go to church for, not to really, look at what's going on, but you can't ignore it either. There was more than, I mean, embezzlement, just money. I mean, just different churches. I'm not talking about one particular church. I'm not even going to say the churches. But like I said, I went to several churches, but I seen a lot. And I can say Christianity, I graduated and I started researching. I graduated from Christianity, is what I'm saying, and I went to spirituality, just meaning that I'm spiritual. I definitely believe in God. I believe in a creator. I mean, look at us, look at all this life and nature around us. So I definitely, but I deal with God. There's no middleman with me. There's 100,000 different religions, and who is to say which one is the true religion? I don't think that anyone can say that their religion is, that they know for sure that that's the correct religion. So that's why I just say, hey, I'm gonna live the best life according to God, the intuition that He gives us, the protection. He speaks to us. He tells us when we shouldn't do anything. We know when we should do anything. That gut feeling, that gut is your second. That's your second brain, your gut. Um, and that voice in the back of your head, when he talks to you. Just, if you talk to God, He will talk to you. So anyway, I'm not gonna make this about that. So let's get into Sinners. Gosh. So it starts off as being narrated by a lady, Annie. Annie is one of the main lead ladies. Black, dark skinned woman, voluptuous. Never seen it before. I have never seen that in a movie that I can recall. Um, Maybe other than Lovecraft. Now that I'm thinking about it, Lovecraft Country, I did see it in there. But anyway, um, so I just thought about that Lovecraft. So anyway, so she's narrating and she's talking about, how different religions, um, different, spiritualities or religions, that anytime there was someone who had a gift of music, it brought the community together, but it also brought in the demons and devils. It summoned those type of demons and devils. And I mean, it makes sense because if so, Christianity says the devil was, the most smartest angel. He was the most handsome, the most cunning and charming, and he was the minister of music. So it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense there. So So the movie starts where Sammy, who is the preacher's kid, um, he is going into the church. He's just beat up. He's been through it. You can tell him he's been through hell and back, literally. His face is scarred, blood is all on the shirt, and his dad is like, give it up. What you're doing, give up your, he's addicted to the guitar. I'm not gonna say addicted. It's his passion. It is his gift, that his God-given gift, because I do believe God gives us gifts. But it's according to what you do with them and how you manage them, and how far you choose to go in certain places with those gifts, that you know makes you stand out. It makes you so Sammy, he's walking into church and he's telling everybody, nope, don't bother him. He needs to come to God. He needs to come to God and give up that secular life. So that's where it starts. So then it switches to what happened the day before that. So the day before that, Sammy's cousins, which is Smoke and Stack, which is Michael B. Jordan, he's playing twins. The duality. I like that. Duality to me, Smoke and Stack, was good versus evil. Although they both had good in them and they both had evil in them. I think that's what this movie really was touching on a lot. The twins, Smoke and Stack, picked Sammy up. They were gonna get a juke. They're starting up a juke joint. That was the first day it was gonna open. So they had to go find people. They had to go, get everything together, get the business together, go to town, get it built up. So they were making preparations for that. On the way to get this, done, they split up. So when they were splitting up, Sammy gets in the car with Stack, and Smoke goes his own way. But before they hit a vehicle in the woods. When they got there and they uncovered the vehicle, there was a snake. Smoke took his knife and he stabbed the snake. So to me, and he just told Stack, he was like, that Klan, he got us behind, there's a scene where they went and purchased a juke joint from a Klansman. They didn't know he was a Klansman. They didn't know he was gunning them, but they went and purchased it from him. And so when they got there, he was saying, to the vehicle, they were saying, I don't know. Smoke was saying, I don't think we should open today, Stack. I just don't think the time is right. The Klansman, he got us behind by playing those stupid games. We need to wait for another day. And Stack was like, oh no, today's going down. We're going to do it by sundown. Today's going to go down. Then there was a snake there. And I feel like that snake was subliminal for the enemies near, don't do it, just giving them a sign. They killed the snake, threw the snake on the ground. Sammy looked at the snake like he had a feeling. His intuition was, speaking to him. But none of them said anything. They just got in the cars and they just went on. So, Sammy, the preacher's kid, he jumped in the car again with Stack. Smoke went his separate way. Smoke went where he met with the Chinese man in a town where there was like segregation. It wasn't really, segregated town. He met Chinese couple who were married. They had a daughter, and husband and wife. They owned 2 stores. I thought that was interesting. It was like they were really showing the Chinese how they were coming into the black cities and they were buying up. So they made a deal. The Chinese sold them catfish, made signs for them. And then on the other hand, Stack and Sammy were recruiting the talent. They recruited an older man who was an alcoholic. He basically, they got him, sold him to come, to their juke joint to play the music for alcohol and, a little bit of money. But they sold him on the alcohol, on the booze, sinners, just bootleggers, juke joints, that's what he was used to. So there is where Stack, there was a white passing lead. His lead lady was Mary. She looked white, and Sammy thought she was white. He was like, "There's a white lady staring at you." And Smoke was like, "Don't pay her no attention. Just go on the other way." So come to find out, Mary's now married, and she's upset with Stack because apparently he just, they had something going on, and he just up and left her. Didn't come back to her, and she got married to a white man. She's living a life with the white man, and she's miserable. And she's explaining this to Stack, and he's just like cold to her, and she just won't go away. So he just walks away. She leaves, and he thought that was the end of it. However, she shows back up the opening night. They go on and open up the juke joint. So here is where all hell breaks loose, literally. So they open up the juke joint. Sammy's singing. I mean, he has a talent, a God-given talent. He can play the guitar. He can sing. I mean, and it summons Riddick, which is the Irish vampire. Riddick, earlier in the movie, it showed a clip of him stopping at a Klansman's couple's house. Then he turned them, but there were Native Americans, and I thought that was interesting because the Native Americans, they looked, like the not so, the Native Americans I felt like were, I won't comment on it. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna keep this in here, but I'm gonna leave it alone. But the Native Americans that were in there, the movie, was trying to warn the couple that were Klansmen, like, hey, there's a very bad man. If you see him, let us know if he's in here. And they were like, get away, get away. So they got away. As soon as they left, the Klansman wife, she was looking for the husband, and Riddick, who happens to be the vampire, had bit his husband and turned him that quick before she knew it. Then he bit her, they bit her, turned her. So they were the three now. So the night that the juke joint opened, Sammy was singing, and I mean, they were playing the guitar. They had the catfish. I mean, everything going. And I'm gonna actually pause there because I need to go back and talk about Annie. So Annie, Smoke also stops when he's, getting the speaking with the Chinese couple, and paying for them for catfish and signs to make for the juke joint. He stops to see Annie. Annie is the black woman that I was telling you about. She's a brown skin, dark skinned black woman, voluptuous, and she was into voodoo or hoodoo. I'm not really sure of what it was, but it was, it was an African spirituality or something like that. But she practiced magic, and she believed in dealing with the ancestors. She put Smoke mojo necklace that she made him, and she prayed over him while he was gone, went out of her way. Even though Smoke and Stack, they were not good people. They were gangsters. I'm not going to say they weren't good people, but they were gangsters. So apparently they have robbed people to get the money to open up the juke joint. And it looks to me as if Smoke actually robbed the people, but I mean, he robbed people who were thieves anyway, but he wanted to, seems like he came back to Chicago for redemption, and he wanted to change. You could see that he wanted to change. He didn't think that, really the juke joint was a good business or something good to get into, because he's going to tell Sammy, don't do this. Even before all the madness happens, he's telling him. But anyway, so Stack, Smoke was there to see Annie, his love interest, and he told her that he missed her and he loved her. They had a child who passed on, and he asked, Annie, well, why couldn't your magic save our baby? And she just like, it just couldn't. It just couldn't. And she was like, but it's working on you, because everything you've been out here doing, that mojo necklace has protected you. I've prayed over you and done so much. And so, he tells her that he loves her, and they have a love scene. And he's like, he got his woman back, and she agrees to come and fry, help cook and serve the bar at the juke joint. So they get in the car, they all there. So they all at the juke joint. It's open at night. I mean, they're partying, they're singing. Sammy is singing so much. His voice is so great, and his music playing, and the other guy that they picked up, Slim, who was the alcoholic that they picked up. I mean, they really played it. I mean, and they showed what I really liked in that part was they started showing different musicians from times beyond, before, I mean, and present, just showing how the music really captivates people, brings people together. And then, I mean, they were singing so much that it started showing the roof was on fire. That took me back to years ago. I remember we used to have a song, their roof is on fire. We don't need no water. And that always meant to me, like, no matter what's going on, and that's how Black people are. No matter what is going on, like with today's time, Trump is doing foolishness, and we're out here boots to the ground. We don't need no water. Just let it burn. It's like Black people, like, look, we're going to still have our fun. We're still going to do, what make us happy, because we got to have some happiness. Some of them were, worked in the fields all day long, and they just wanted a break. They wanted to, get away and just, have a good time. And that's, really what they were doing. So Sammy I say summoned because when he was playing in the train station for Slim, because that's when they was trying to get the talent, him and Stack, and that's where they met Mary. Stack, Slim had made a comment like, well, that guy's no good, but he was really, so, Sammy played, and it captured the attention of another woman who was married. And, she was like, you can't handle me, basically. She's a married woman. So his voice already, and his musician captured her. And I say that to say that, having a gift sometimes and being so powerful with your gift, that's exactly what happens. People want you. Everybody want to touch you. Everybody want their hands on you. It don't matter. She was married. It doesn't even matter. And that's how I say, with having a gift, basketball players, your gifts, these talents, you'll see it all the time. They're up and then they're down. So the married lady, she really was interested. She came to the juke joint. She listened to Sammy. I mean, they even went in, had sex. Married, she didn't care. Sammy slept with the married woman. So they were there. They were partying. The Chinese people were there. The husband and wife that sold them the fish and made the signs. And I mean, they were having a great time. Riddick, who was the Irish vampire that I was speaking with earlier that killed the other couple and turned them, shows up. They hear the singing, the music, they hear Sammy's voice, and it summons the devil. They are there for Sammy. Especially Riddick, the lead vampire. He wants Sammy, that voice, and so this movie show is the, like the old school vampire movies. Like, I don't know if anybody remembers the ones from back in the day, but you had to have permission, to enter. And even with some spirituality, with some demons, things that if you studied that, there has to be permission. People that do readings and stuff, that sometimes they have to get permission from those spirits or whatever. So these vampires would not, they wouldn't enter. They kept trying to con them. They kept trying to say, let us in. They didn't tell them in the beginning they were there for Sammy, but they was like, hey, we want to come in. We want to party with y'all. We sing too. They was trying everything. And they were just like, nope, Stack and Smoke, the twins, they were like, nope, you're not coming in. And they were like, well, is it because we're white? And they was like, no, we just don't, no, we don't want your kind here. They didn't trust them. Mary, who was passing, because she was, she looked white, and they were like, well, why is she here? And they was like, well, she's family, so she can be here. So Stack realizes that they're short. for the night. I'm sorry, Smoke realizes that they're short. He's talking to Smoke. He's like, hey, we're letting all these people come in. They're not paying, the real money. They were paying with some type of coins that they were gifted from working in the plantations or whatever, which was not like the real money. You can only use it on the plantations. So they were short, and Stack was talking to Mary, and he was like, yeah, we're short, and Smoke is upset about that. And she was like, well, I bet those you know Irish people, the white people that we wouldn't let in, I bet they got money. We need to really go. You need to let me go talk, because she looks white, she's past as white. You need to let me go talk to them, and I can see what we can get out of them. He was like, no, don't do that, don't do that. And she was like, yeah, we have to. I can help save the night. I can help y'all so we don't go under. Well, so the juke joint business doesn't go under. It's the first day of the opening, and they're under. And Stack was like, okay, let's see what you can do. So she goes out there, being friendly, showing her, she feel like she can relate to them. So she's speaking with them, and they're like, oh, okay, well. So, he's telling her that he can sense that she's in some pain. Her mother had died, and she's just telling all the business. And so she realizes that like something's not right with them. So she gets up and she tries to walk away and kind of take off running fast towards the juke joint. She realized she made a mistake, and they bit her. It doesn't really show it at that time, but that's what happens. They bit her, and they turned her. So she comes back in, and Cornbread, who is one of the people that they recruited, to help at the juke joint, he's the person who holds the door. He's looking at her funny, and she's like, yeah, let me back in. Can I come in? He was like, well, you were just in here. And so she goes in, and she sees Stack, and she's like, look, I got money. They gave me money. And I mean, it's gold coins. And he's like, okay. So then she's just being all sexual, and she goes in, and they have sex, and while they're having sex, she bites Stack. Michael B. Jordan, he's, playing the same role twice. They're twins. So Sammy walks in, he sees them having sex, and Smoke is like, I don't care, go get them, because we got a problem. The vampires come back, they're like, can we come in? And they're like, no, we can't come in. So long story short, Stack is bit. Mary turns Stack into a vampire, and I mean, all hell just breaks loose. They're trying to get the others to invite them in. They won't invite them in because they have to have an invite to come in, because they can't just come inside. And the way that Stack got out of the juke joint is Annie, who was the root worker or spiritual worker, she threw garlic on him, and he ran out. So all the vampires were out at that time. They were trying to convince them to let him in. The Chinese lady's husband had left to go get the car. He ended up getting bit. He was there trying to get them all to, get them to let them in as a vampire. So the Chinese lady, she's in there. She's just not participating. She's not cooperating. They're all like, Annie's telling them, we have to stay in here to sundown. We will be fine. They're making like weapons, just preparing just in case. They're getting silver, wood, eating garlic. And the Chinese lady's like, no, they said they're going to get my daughter. And, Smoke, you're supposed to be a soldier. So, you need to, do it. And they're like, no. And she's like, well, I'm going to let him in. And they're like, no, don't do that. If we stay here to sun, when the sun comes up, it's going to kill them all. She's like, no, they're saying they're going to get my daughter. So she's like, come on in. She invites the vampires in. Lo and behold, they come in, and it's just a war, there. And pretty much everybody is turned and bit, except Smoke and Sammy. Sammy, the vampire, devil, demon, really is after Sammy. He's going for Sammy. Him and Sammy end up in a water scene. And Sammy starts, reciting like, oh gosh, at that moment, he's a preacher boy. So he starts reciting, scriptures from the Bible, and the vampire Riddick, he starts reciting them back to him. He knows them just as well As Sammy knows him, and then all the other vampires join in. They all know it. That, because think about it, the devil, he was once an angel. So he was there in heaven. He knows all the scriptures. He knows the right thing to do. He just didn't do it, which is why he got, cast out of into a fallen angel. They're in the water, and Smoke ends up saving Sammy. He kills Riddick with a stake to the chest, and he kills Sammy. He kills Riddick, the Irish vampire, and it appears that all of them dies. Once they killed him, it seems like all of the other vampires that were turned, because the vampires turned everybody. Everybody, once they got in, and the Chinese woman, she, invited them in, they pretty much killed everybody or turned everybody. So everybody, Sammy, so then the scene comes, it goes back to the beginning, that now we see why Sammy was going into the church half beat up, looking like he had been to hell and back, because he literally had been fighting with the demon, the devil, the vampire, fighting with an entity. And he's walking in the church, and he still got, even though he just went through all this hell, he just seen everybody die, even his woman that he liked, that, the married lady that he just had relations with, or whatever you want to call it, everybody's gone, so he thinks, and he's still holding on to that guitar, and his dad's like, put it down, let it go. Just showing you that how powerful. To me, that was just symbolism for when sometimes people just have a gift or talent in them so strong. It's just like, he's like, whether through death, that's just who he wanted to be, and just what he wanted to do through, he's like, this is who I am, this is what I want to do. So he just could not give it up. So I really feel like, that's pretty much where it ended. There is another credit. There is a scene after the credits where it shows Sammy get older until he's like 80, and he's playing the guitar. He's in concerts, and he's playing for, like, it's in the 1990s now. So it starts out, in the 20s or 30s, and now it's in the 90s. So he's an older man, like 80 years old, and he, at one of his events he's playing at, he's at the bar having a drink, sit down, and they're like, hey, there's somebody else they want to come in. He's like, oh, just let them in. And it's Stack and Mary, that they were turned. But he's like, well, how did this happen? Because he thought all of them, had died once the head vampire Riddick was killed. And it went back into his head. He started remembering what Annie was telling them all when they was preparing before everybody died inside the juke joint. She was like, even sometimes if you killed the head one, you got to kill them all. The lead vampire, you got to kill them all one by one. So Mary Stack was still there. But I took that as, Mary loved Stack so much anyway, and Stack really loved her, but because of the times they couldn't be together because of race, and so Stack felt like her marrying the white man, that was the better life for her, to keep her safe. Now they are together in eternity. They don't have souls or whatever, but happy. They're happy together, and they're just coming there to visit Sammy. He's 80. They're still young looking, like when they first died, back in the 20s, when the juke joint and everything was going on. So they're looking very young, and Sammy's like, oh my God, how'd this happen? And they're like, Stack is telling him that, my brother Smoke, before he, in the juke joint sings, because when everybody was fighting, he promised me that I couldn't turn you. So that was, and he kept his word, he didn't turn him. So I say that to say that, Sinners, the movie's called Sinners. And I think it's showing how, like, even with Smoke, he's, it shows like he's the hero of the movie. He tried to be the person to keep everything together. But he was a gangster. He did bad deeds, but he also did good deeds. Stack, who turned into the vampire, still promised he did a good deed. He didn't go after Sammy. So it's showing, the good in people and the bad in people, that, nobody's perfect. You do, you sin and you do things and you invite demons and devils into your life, and there's just going to be chaos regardless of who you are. You a good person, bad people, you can be a great person, but you take one wrong turn, you get involved with one wrong person, and it can end your life literally. You let a demon in, and they're all around. They're all around. You don't even know it, because like I said, they're charming. They're not coming to you a lot. Some of them are just I mean, some of them are brutal. Some of them are, you see some people out here and they're just chaotic, and they're just doing God knows what. You can spot those demons and devils. But the ones that are like the devil, who was just charming and, has charisma, they're going to come to you nice and sweet, and they're not going to come to you and say, hey, I'm the devil, do you want to join me? They're going to really manipulate you. They're going to show you one thing and then turn out to be something else. And that's what I feel like, the movie is about. It's about, coming together. As far as Annie, Christians were saying, oh, spirituality and voodoo is bad. She used her magic, to keep Smoke safe for all those years. She was the one, the black woman, doing the hoodoo or voodoo or whatever spirituality, who pretty much was trying to save the day until the Chinese lady invited them in. But she was the one who was keeping it all together. And it also, it gave me a big thing, which is what I've always lived. You cannot be around just anybody. You can't accept anybody and welcome anybody in. Even though they may appear to be like you or be on the same page as you, a lot of people are. That's why I keep a small circle. You have to be very careful who you get involved with. And I think this movie is and I don't think that it really matters the race or black and white, but I think that he's doing a good movie telling you how throughout the years where, our community, we're so accepting. We just let anybody come in and just wreak havoc on us. I mean, just look at years of what we've suffered and endured from slavery, just being just wiped out. I mean, look at the indigenous people. A lot of my ancestors are Native American, Indian. I'm pretty much both, black, African American, whatever, you want to call it. But just look at the history of, just in welcoming and teaching people what and they taking it and using it and, turning on you. Or sucking you into something and some mess that you don't want to be a part of, and you don't want, but the movie was really good. Out of 10, I give it a 10, and I'm very tough. I'm a critic on movies. I give it a 10. I think everyone should go see it, Christian or not, because I think that it even teaches Christians a lot. I think it teaches people who are spiritual a lot. I think it teaches everybody lessons, just lessons in life that you need to know. But it was a very good movie. I want to go see it again, actually, because I think there was a lot of symbolism that I probably, did not, capture. So I think, every time I watch a movie, I see something else, and I'm just like, oh. But it was very good. And I say that to say that, it also explains a lot. As it doesn't explain it in the movie, but it just made me think about all the talented, like all the artists, how, yes, they are so talented. They're making millions, and they're summoning. They're building us together. They got us going to concerts. They got us buying their tickets. They're making all this money. But when we hear that people have sold their souls, I think it's a real thing. I think in order to make those money and those riches, they are selling their souls. They're selling out, and I think that movie is showing, some of that, because in a way Sammy did sell out at the end. No matter what, through all of that, he still wanted to be famous. He was like, look, I'm gonna, whatever I got to do, I'm gonna play this guitar. I'm gonna be somebody. So it's like he sold it. So he didn't join, uh Smoke killed the vampire. However, and he did it for Sammy to say, get away from, he told Sammy, once he killed him, get away from here. Give that guitar up. You see what's happened. And it didn't even matter. At the end of the day, Smoke did all that to save Sammy, to save his soul. And in a way, it's like he still sold his soul to the devil, because he wanted his talent and his gift. He didn't even care. After he almost died, he still kept going. So I think it's just, a strong testament to show you how people, what they do, how they live their life, in a way, we all are sinners. We all have sinned, and no one is perfect, no matter what you are, what religion, what race. But I think it really shows you to use your intuition more, practice good judgment, and be careful of the company that you keep and who you allow in your house, in your dwelling, into your space. All of that. So that's what I wanted to say. I really saw a lot of people talking about this, and I said, yeah, I really want to, give my input and outtake on the movie, because it was really good. I seen some Christian people saying that they went to see the movie. They're like, oh my God, it's so demonic. Stay out of it. It's a movie called Sinners about vampires. So what did you think? I mean, it's just amazing to me from what I've seen. A lot of Christians, Black men is actually trying to tell us a deeper story. And they're just saying, oh, it's demonic and don't go see it. Stay away. And when they don't realize that a lot of things that they do is demonic. I mean, who do you think they're summoning? The Holy Ghost in church. What entity is that? Communion. Wine and supposed to represent blood. Cracker or bread representing the body. Cannibalism. Wine, vampire, blood is supposed to represent blood. I mean, what? So, and I'm not even gonna go in on that. I'm gonna do another video about that, because I think that Christians really need to, especially Black Christians or Black Americans. I'm not knocking anybody who wants to be a Christian, but I think that, or any religion, I just think that you can be a good person, but you need to realize why Christianity was handed to you. And once you do your research and you start out how to turn a Negro slave into a Christian, you're going to understand a lot why this Holy Bible was forced upon you. I believe that there are a lot of coded messages. I still to this day read scriptures in the Bible, because it can help you get through things. And I think the Bible is a good tool and resource. I think that some things in the Bible are, man-made and have been turned to, for, a certain, to keep power and maintain power over people. But I think that there is some good in it, and I take what's good in it and I use it. I think there's good in every religion. There's a lot of things in different religions that I've seen good in. So I think that if we all come together and just find the good in whatever religion you want to be, we all get along better. And I think that with the Irish Riddick vampire, he was saying that he was like, it don't matter what color. Hey, if you join me, it don't matter what color you are. Y'all won't let me in your juke joint because I'm white. But if you join me, I'm a vampire. We can be black, white, whatever. Chinese, we're all out here vampires now. Just join me and You know, you be a vampire, but you all be living together in harmony amongst each other. So I'm not saying go out here and be vampires and join demons, but I'm just saying that if we all can just, whatever religions you are, come together and just do the good for the community. And if somebody has a gift, praise them. People want to capitalize on people's gift. People want them to sell their soul so that they can make money off of someone's gift. How dare you? How dare an Usher or someone of a Prince or a Michael Jackson or Whitney Houston? Look at the majority of their history. Usher is still here, thank heavens. But look at what happened. Look at how people capitalize off of their talent. It's their talent, their gift. So I'm going to leave it there, but go see Sinners.